Hey guys, we're going to go ahead. We're going to be taking a look at some more division today. All right, so today's problems, like last week's, have to do with what to do with the remainder. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these problems and we're going to try them out. And we're going to just see whether there's any difference between the problems from this week to the problems from last week. So if you remember last week's problems on Friday, or yesterday's lessons, depending on when you did them, what we did was we were looking at division, and when you divided it out, there was a remainder left. And with the remainder that was left, we needed to do something with them. So you had problems like there were 24 people trying to get on a bus, only 10 people can fit. How many buses will you need so that everybody can go? So when we divided that out, we noticed that, well, 10 people fit on the first bus, 10 people sit on the second bus, that's 20 people. There's still 4 people sitting there. We couldn't leave them behind. So we rounded up to the next whole number. So instead of just being 2 buses, we went up to 3 buses so that we could fit everyone on. Or we also had problems like I have 16 muffins and I'm trying to put them in bags of 5 to sell. So when I do that, how many full bags can I make? And you'd be able to make 5, 10, 15, 3 full bags of 5, and you had 1 muffin left over. Well, we couldn't make another bag of 5 with it. So that would be a time where we just got rid of the remainder. Okay, so that was what we looked at last week, either going up to the next whole number to include the remainder as another set that we needed, or just dropping the remainder off and not using it at all. Okay, so today's problem for your Explorer, if you've already tried it, is a little bit different. So let's look at it. So I want to make sure that I can actually write on it. So here we go. All right, so when we look, it says Nathan was going to sell muffins at his school's bake sale to make money to buy new playground equipment. Great, but that doesn't help us mathematically at all. Then it says when he was baking, he made 220 muffins. All right, that's something we need to know. There's 220 muffins. Okay, he was going to wrap them up in packages with 6 in each package. All right, so we're taking the 220 and we're breaking them up into groups of 6. That's what's happening here. Then he was going to eat all the leftover muffins. So how many does he get to eat? All right, so we're taking these 220 and we're breaking them up into groups of 6. All right, that's simple division, same thing we've worked on for a while. But this is what's important. You have to read the question. The question is what always tells you whether you're going up to the next whole, whether you're dropping it down and not including the remainder, or today we're doing something completely different. He actually is using the leftover muffins. That's what we want to know about. We want to know how many are left over that he gets to eat. So when we do our division, 220 divided by 6, now I'm not going to build a ladder to the side because I know my 6s, so I don't need to. So I still work it the same way. I look for the first number that's larger than 6. So 2 is not larger, but 22 is. So to get close to 22, 6 times 3 is close to 22 because it's 18. But if I'd made this 30, then I would have been at 180. So I do my subtraction. I find out I've got 40 left. Same process. How many times does 6 go into 40? Or what times 6 is 40, or at least as close to it as I can get? And that would be 6, because 6 times 6 is 36. When I subtract, I have 4 left. Last week we worked on this. And really, even before then, anytime I get this down to less than what I'm dividing by, I'm done. I can't make another whole group. So over here, I've made 36 groups. Now, last week, I would have asked you, hey, how many bags or how many packages did he make? And he made 36. Or I could say, how many packages will he need if he wraps up all of them? Well, then we would wrap up these extra 4, even though it's not a full group, he would need 37. But this time the question is different. It says he gets to eat the leftover muffins. How many does he get to eat? He's not eating 220. He's not eating 36 packages. This comes down to why I really over-explained everything when we started with division, why I kept going through and saying, this is 180 left, this is 40, or this is 40 left. And I kept going through all those little steps because now you need to know what these numbers represent. This 4 represents the 4 muffins that are left over, that are not wrapped up. We have not divided those 4 by 6 because we couldn't do it. So these 4 are our remainder. That's the leftovers. Those 2 words mean the same thing in this context. So how many does he get to eat? Not 36 packages. He eats 4. He gets 4 muffins that he gets to eat. Okay, so we now have 3 different things that you can do with a remainder. You can either go up to the next whole. So like on this problem, we would round up to 37. You could have just dropped the remainder and we could have had 36. You can now also use the remainder as part of your answer, or really tricky, to find your answer. So for an example for that one, here's my question that I could have asked. Instead of asking, because let's face facts, he's trying to make money for his school, right? Why is he eating the muffins that he's selling? Doesn't make any sense. So he's supposed to be selling these. So what I might have asked, instead of saying he gets to eat the leftover muffins, I could have asked, how many more muffins does he need to make another package? Oh, that's really tricky, because then I'd have to stop and think. Let's see, he has 4 left over. How many more would he need to make a package? Well, I'd have to stop and think. How many does he need for a package? He needs 6 for a package. So how many more would he need if he has 4? He would need 2 more. So today, when you're looking at these problems, you're going to have to really stop and think. The biggest thing to pay attention to is once you know that it's a division problem and you do all the division, go back to the question. The question tells you what's happening, whether it's a round up, whether it's a drop the remainder, or whether you're using the remainder as your answer. Okay? So pay attention to this question. It helps guide the story and it will tell you what you should be doing. All right, so go ahead and give them a shot for today. You have a few problems to work on. I believe all of them have remainders today, and I'm not going to guarantee that they are all remainders where the remainder is the answer. Okay, you should know from our quiz that I gave you on division last week that just because it's a division problem doesn't always, or division test doesn't even mean that I'm always going to give just division problems. I could have snuck in a multiplication problem on this one. No number picking. Read the problem, understand the story, pay attention to the question, and you should do just fine. All right. Well, I hope this works out well for you. We'll see you during office hours, and good luck. Oh.